ahead and get up at 3 in the morning and start cramming. That's not going to work very well, but go ahead. But if you have studied, here's what happens, and I've had a lot of students tell me this. They get up on the morning of the test and they think, okay, I've already studied, but how about if I study just a little more? You know, it couldn't hurt. So while they're eating breakfast or something similar while they're waiting, they actually open up their textbook or go to their notes and start just skimming through everything they've already studied. And all of that sounds okay, except really often what will happen is that they'll look at something in their book or notes, something important, and they'll look at it and think, oh, that's right. That's right, I forgot all about that. And then the next thought they have is, what else did I forget? And they start panicking. They start kind of getting confused. Other people do something even worse. They're flipping through the book and they see something and they think, oh, I remember that. Oh, but that's not the way I remember it. In other words, I put it in there one way. That doesn't look right. Well, all of that tends to hurt your confidence, hurt your ability to do well on the test, and so that's not a good thing to happen on the morning of the test. Now, there are two exceptions to this. The first one is a good one, and this may apply to some of you in here. If you have a test that day, but it's not until late in the day, like 3 or 4 in the afternoon, 7 at night, something like that, it's not a bad idea for you when you get up to at least do a little bit of light review. Not cramming, not studying or anything, but just a little review. Because if you get up at 7 or 8 in the morning and your test is at 7 at night, that's a lot of hours to pass without thinking about it at all. So it wouldn't be bad to just kind of loosen up your brain a little. But if your test is at 8 in the morning or 9, 10, 11, noon or whatever, in the first few hours after you get up, it's better to just let good enough alone and just leave it alone and then move on from there. The other exception is a bad one. So if this ever happens to you, your time management was terrible in leading up to a test, and that is if you go to bed the night before a test and you haven't finished all your reading yet, go ahead and get up and start reading the next morning. So for example, if you have a test on chapter 5 and 6 and 7, and when you go to bed the night before the test, you've read all of 5, half of 6, you haven't even looked at chapter 7 yet, you're in big trouble anyway, but you might as well get up and start reading. It's better than nothing. But again, this is something that you would want to avoid at all costs. So this is the first strategy, first general strategy. And then the second one, I want you to help me with this a little bit. It involves 2 words. Okay, first one is the most obvious one. You can't take a test if you don't arrive. Early. But when? Early. Yeah, early. And if there's ever a time as a student that you're going to arrive early at the classroom, it's on the day of a test. It's the smartest thing. And so I wanted to ask you this, because I'm always interested in people's ideas before I give you mine. If you could set up your schedule perfectly, how early do you think would be perfect to arrive at the classroom on the day of a test? 15 minutes? 10 minutes. 10 minutes? Any other? 30 minutes. 30 minutes? Sometimes when I ask people, the amount keeps growing. Okay, and so I wanted to tell you before I put this up here that a lot of students have told me they like to get to a classroom 45 minutes, an hour, something like that before the test. Now, if there's no other class in the room before yours, that means you can go in like an hour early and you have sort of the room to yourself. Well, if somebody shows up that early, what are they likely going to do while they're waiting for the test? They're going to